Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be taking a look at Tatoo's budget-friendly Funfly 4S LiPo. This is a 1550 milliamp and apparently it will do 100C, which with 1550 is 155 amps, so we'll see if it's capable of doing that. And I really like Tatoo batteries. I've been using them for a couple of years. The biggest problem with Tatoo batteries is the price. So this is their 1550 HV battery and it's very good and it can provide all of the amps that I need on my amp heavy models. However, it costs 34 GBP, which I think is 40 euros. This guy 20 euros, which is 17 GBP, so it's half the price of this guy, but boasting similar specs. Of course, this one doesn't have the HV logo, although I believe HV batteries are just normal LiPo batteries, and they just give you permission to charge them a little bit higher. You can do that with any battery. It doesn't have to have HV on it. There is definitely a difference in size with these batteries, though. You see, this one's a little bit smaller, so we'll have to see if it can make its capacity. But yeah, there's nothing special on this guy, just the XT60 connector. We don't have a detachable balance lead. We've got this plastic thing here, which I'm never a fan of because, if something's going to get hit, it's going to cut through that anyway, so I usually remove those. But yeah, if it stacks up to one of these, then this could be fantastic. And I think the idea of calling it Funfly, I think it's really meant for freestyle than racing. You don't really need the high C rating, certainly not as high C rating that racers need to get the performance. So I think it might be a decent cheap freestyle option, and that's great because in the UK it's really difficult to get hold of batteries. I've talked about this in the past. You see, I really like these GMB 1500 batteries. You get good cycles through them and decent power, but they're very difficult to get hold of in the UK. And I think Tatoo is based in Europe, so it should be easy for me to get these. So the next thing to do is to see whether we can get this capacity and whether we can get 155 amps out of it. But spoiler alert, I can't get 155 amps out of this guy, certainly not continuous anyways, but it'll be interesting to see the results. Okay, so this is my KISS Alien. It's got an onboard current meter. It is missing out the VTX and the camera and the flight controller, but the majority of the amps are drawn from the motors and the ESCs, so it should still be fairly accurate. So the props on here are a Dal Cyclone 5046, and I'm just doing a little bit of warm-up here because this is actually the first cycle. So what I'm looking at here is the peak amps, and I think throughout of this flight it peaked at about 133 amps, which I think is 86C, so not quite making the 100C there. So 100C for this battery would be 155 amps. Now you could argue that, well, that's just the copter being a bottleneck. You can see there though that on the speed run it's managing 100 amps, which is the same really as the GMB battery that I have. I think the GMB battery performs just a little bit better, very similar to the R-Line actually, which is why I like them. But yeah, so just flying this around here, so you can see we're getting burst of over 120 amps, and then the constant burst is around about 100 to 90, which I think that makes that around about 65C. So we've got a continuous 65C out of this battery, and then we've got a burst of 86C. So I mean, C ratings don't really mean anything anyways, but you know, I thought it was important to just check that out. By the way, the C rating of all of the other top line batteries don't get anywhere near either, but I thought it was worth checking. So in general, I really like this battery. It performs well. I've always liked the Tattu batteries. They are some of the best out there, and I think, you know, the idea to just have a freestyle battery and not have to worry about performance and stuff, I think that is a good thing. Yeah, it's not gonna be a top line performer for racing, but I think more people are moving into freestyle now, and you know, we want cheaper batteries for that. One thing I can't do in this test is the longevity of the battery. One thing I will say though is I usually spend the extra on Tattu batteries because they last. In fact, I'm going to compare a Tattu R-Line 1550 battery, which I've had for half a year, and it's still performing a little bit better than this one. So that's why I go for Tattu, but I don't know whether the cheaper ones will last that long, but I get a lot of cycles out of them. Anyways, what I'm going to do is come in for a landing. I'm going to switch out the props to some hefty ones to make sure that the copter's not a bottleneck. So these are some 51-52 flash props, and just as I suspected, really, it's the battery that's been the bottleneck. You can see that we're not really getting over 130 amps on the peak, and what starts to happen on the continuous runs is that it really starts to sag to the point where you can hear the note of the props change as it's sagging. So yeah, you don't want to run heavy pitch props on this, but you're not going to be doing that freestyle anyway. But have a listen. Can you hear that? It maintained 100 amps, which is good, but then towards the end it really tailed off, and if you look at the voltage sag of the battery, then this copter is capable of drawing more amps. And again though, you know, it's still decent enough. I wouldn't put these props on this copter. And then I did a final run, and this is with the Tattu R-Line. This is the high volt one, and you will see it consistently go over 140 amps. So it's rated to 100C, so 155 amps would be the total number of amps to reach 100C. It doesn't do that either, but then, you know, I guess you could say that could be the copter, but look at that, it's maintaining well over 100 amps on the continuous, and then on the slight burst I'm seeing 146 amps, so you know, getting close to that 100C, and it's more consistent throughout the flight. But you know, that's what you're gonna get when you are spending, I think, was it 34 GBP, maybe even more for one of these batteries. They are expensive. So yeah, I mean, I have no problems using a, you know, more sort of suited freestyle battery. It might not be as expensive, it might not hold the throttle as well, but you know, it does the job to get the epic shots that you need from a freestyle model. So yeah, I think I approve of these batteries, and yeah, I will link them in the below when I can. And look at that, the sun is going down. By the way, yeah, if you check out the first flight, this battery does retain its capacity, so it is a 1550, so that's a good thing. And yeah, it means that you are getting all of your money's worth. By the way, do you like this overlay here? I've sort of green screened it over the top of the GoPro. But anyways, I will leave it there, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.